Hey everybody, this is Lisa, attorney with Family Matters Law Group, and I am on here today to talk about domestic violence injunctions. I have a blog article that should be posted pretty soon that you can reference for these top 10 tips for domestic violence injunctions. And this video is just an overview of that. There are a couple of other videos that go more in depth into the process of a domestic violence injunction, or what we sometimes call restraining orders, how the process works in terms of navigating the court system. But for purposes of this video, it's more of like a top tips related to domestic violence injunctions. So number one is a domestic violence injunction is the same thing as a restraining order. It is a civil order. It's not a criminal order. So this is not someone having like a criminal case against them or anything that they're going to have a criminal record as a result of a domestic violence injunction. It is civil. Having said that, once a domestic violence injunction is entered, if you violate that domestic violence injunction, and the only person who can violate a domestic violence injunction is the respondent, the person who it is against. If you violate the domestic violence injunction, that can have criminal consequences. So very, very serious to violate a restraining order, to violate the terms of an injunction for protection. So that's number two. I lost track of where I was on it. Number three, temporary injunctions can be entered without a hearing. So when someone files the petition, a temporary injunction can be entered before the other person has an opportunity to explain themselves or to advocate for themselves. That's going to be set for a return hearing. And at the return hearing, you're going to have the ability on the other side to present all of your information and your side of the story. But during that period of time, the temporary injunction is in place and it has all of the same effects as a final injunction for protection. If you show up at the temporary hearing, you show up at a final hearing, and you do not have an attorney, you're going to be held to the same rules of evidence, the same court rules and processes that attorneys are held to. So just know that while you have the ability to show up alone, you are going to be held accountable for knowing everything that attorneys know in terms of rules of evidence. An example of that would be that you cannot bring in like an affidavit or a sworn statement from some outside person. If you have witnesses, they have to be able to be there to testify themselves, and they have to testify to things that they have firsthand seen. Also, wanted to add that if you get a domestic violence injunction, you can add additional places in addition to your home, such as your church or your job or your kids' school, as a place that the other party has to stay away from. I'm sorry about that. And then finally, domestic violence injunctions can involve children, and they can discuss the terms of parenting, but not in cases where you were never married and haven't been to court about the child previously. But if you've been married or you already have a court order for time sharing, a domestic violence injunction can address parenting issues. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date with family law tips and information in Florida. Again, I'm Lisa Wentz, and I'm one of the attorneys with Family Matters Law Group.